Hi guys, I'm Sean. This is Alyssa. Gas is in our hearts, and this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. 100. It's a nice round number, and it also happens to be the number of medals that India has won at the Asian Games.
A lot of medals.
I know. And you know, Modi has been calling this a remarkable milestone. And in fact, he put something out on his Instagram here, and I was going to take a look at that here. It says, a momentous achievement for India at the Asian Games. The people of India are thrilled that we have reached a remarkable milestone of 100 medals. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to our phenomenal athletes whose efforts have led to this historic milestone for India. Every awe-inspiring performance has made history and filled our hearts with pride. I look forward to hosting our Asian Games contingent on the 10th and interacting with our athletes. That's going to be a big contingent if you've got, 100 medal winners. I'm thinking of how many maybe didn't get medals who are going to be maybe hanging out with Modi on that day too.
Contingent just a party to celebrate?
Yeah. So, no, I wasn't really familiar with the Asian Games. I'm familiar with the Olympics. I'm familiar with like the Commonwealth Games, but I didn't know that Asia had their own one as well too.
Yeah, I wasn't as familiar either.
Of course, now we're following all sorts of stuff that happens with India, and of course, this came up on our radar, but so did a little bit of controversy related to it. So as I understand it, these games are being held in China, and according to our good friend Palki Sharma, there's maybe been some accusations on some cheating coming from one of the sides here.
Dear.
And so I thought we would take a look at that and sort of, take a look at what's actually going on behind the scenes.
It's called this China sabotaging Indian athletes at Asian Games.
Oh, wait, hold on. It says top officials have accused Chinese officials of cheating and trying to disturb Indian athletes.
Oh, dear.
Maybe they're like playing loud music at night so they can't get to sleep or, yeah.
Oh, we shall see.
Fair play is
Oh,
the cornerstone
the javelin guy.
of any sport.
Yeah, what's his name
You
again?
must win fairly. You must lose
incredible.
fairly. And if you are on the sidelines, you must officiate fairly. But maybe not at the Asian Games.
Uh-oh.
Their officials are being accused of cheating, of deliberately targeting Indian athletes. And it's been happening for days now. Even Neeraj Chopra talked about it. His first throw in the
What's he gonna
javelin
say?
final was wiped off.
What?
Reason, some technical glitch. We told you about it yesterday. Now it looks like the Indian team has had enough. They've decided to
Oh, she
What are you
told us. She told the people yesterday and we missed it. I want to know what he said.
Technical glitch.
That is just absolute ridiculousness.
an official complaint. Listen to Anju Bobby George. She's the Vice President of the Athletics Federation of India, and she says it's all pre-planned.
So this was a continuous thing. It was not just happened with one athlete. It was with many athletes. This is Asian Games. This is not a small competition. And the officials actually, it is pre-planned like this. Definitely during the competition, right away we protested. And now we are planning to take it up to the World Athletic Body.
In a previous statement, she went a step ahead. Anju Bobby George accused Chinese officials of cheating, of trying to disturb Indian athletes. What made her say this?
Did he win, though, the javelin athlete?
I'm going to assume because he's won like all of them.
Like his second throw was probably still okay. Like,
yeah, but
they disqualified his first throw, though.
Due to a technicality, like on their end? And how should that affect
how would that ever affect
the athlete themselves?
Isn't
Very
that the
strange.
footage of his throw as well?
Yeah, so it's all on.
Yeah,
I don't understand this, but maybe we'll get some more info here that'll help us to wrap our brains around it.
Events from the last couple of days. Let me recount them for you. First was Sunday's women's 100 meters hurdles. India's Jyoti Yaraji won silver, but not before some major drama. At the start of the race, 2 sprinters were disqualified, Jyoti and a Chinese competitor. They were flagged for a false start, but Jyoti stood her ground. She was adamant that she had stayed behind the line. In the end, the officials reached a compromise. They said, finish the race and we will review later.
What?
Jyoti ended up finishing third, and the review showed that she did not have a false start. Only the Chinese sprinter did.
And that's going to stress you out.
But the Chinese athlete also had a false start.
That's right. That's right.
I don't know. How can you say that they were just targeting like the Indian
Well, I'm not
athlete.
sure about all
Or they
that.
were just trying to include her in it, maybe, like saying, "Oh, she also had a false start."
Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that we have the technology these days to get an instant replay, probably at like 1/1000th the speed, so you could see exactly whether or not there was a false start or not. So to have to make the athlete keep that uncertainty in their mind as
they
they
wouldn't
go,
tell her?
Yeah, it just doesn't.
They just said
doesn't make a lot of sense to
she's
me.
probably feeling discouraged.
Yeah.
Having a run, being like,
this might not count, or there might be. So
wait, no, how does it work? If they go again, like,
if it's
they stop everyone if someone has a false start?
No, I think
get
the
it.
rest of the people are allowed to continue the race, but then they disqualify those that had done the false start.
No, but how did this work when she kept going?
Well, go back a little bit there.
rewatching.
I think they said like, okay, we'll just do the race again. Let's watch this again.
Yeah, like they just let them go again, and then they.
But not knowing whether or not a false start
Okay,
had
but
occurred when they could have verified it right there and then.
No, this might be fixed. The confusion I'm having, like the Chinese athlete, did they let her get away with the false start? Like when they said, let's do it again anyways, did she get to compete then? Because it was
Maybe.
like, hey, we're just going to start it out.
Maybe, but I suspect
level
those
playing field
results
again.
would have been then disqualified once it was confirmed that there was a false start at the
But
prior
didn't
race.
everyone just restart again?
I think I finally figured it out. They started the race, although they didn't really start. They immediately stopped them, saying that there were some false starts, and then there was a big discussion around that, and then they had them go back and then actually do the race. Pretty sure that's what happened.
To be wrongly disqualified for a false start. It can be the difference between winning and losing. Something similar happened in the javelin throw finals. 2 Indians were part of it, Neeraj Chopra and Kishore Jena. Both of them ran into poor officiating. Neeraj's first throw was a massive one, but the officials could not measure it. So the distance was wiped out. He threw again, but this wasn't as impressive. Next.
Explain how you could not measure it.
Somebody forgot to bring a measuring tape. It's like, oh shit, did you guys? Oh, we forgot. So we're going to have to go home and get that.
How are they measuring everyone else's? How did they measure the second one?
Yeah.
What was wrong with the way it landed that they couldn't measure it?
Yeah, I mean, I can
what?
understand that maybe there was some sort of system in place that provides very accurate measurement. But if that system breaks, you don't just disqualify the throw. You find another way to measure it.
Yeah, you get out a literal measuring tape.
Yeah.
You do the old-fashioned way.
It's and we know.
They're trying to say that like their little computer system failed, that auto measures it or something.
Well, this is actually pissing me off because we watched a video on this guy. He's won like 5 different gold medals for this. He absolutely dominates this
There's
field.
no reason why that throw would
Shouldn't-
not have
yeah.
counted at all.
Yeah.
Was Kishore Jena. During his second attempt, he took a tumble after throwing the javelin. He kept his composure though. He fell within the foul line. But the officials cancelled his attempt. That's when Neeraj and Jena walked up to the officials and they protested the decision. After a long argument, the foul was cancelled. The replay showed that Jena had landed within the foul
Do
line.
they just not understand the rules of
what's
the
the deal
sports
here?
they're officiating?
Why is all of this happening to Indian athletes? Even Neeraj Chopra thinks something is fishy. Listen to his statements, and I'm quoting. It's the first time something like this has happened to me.
He still won though, the javelin.
God, even with his lesser throw,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
still
yeah.
able to.
Thank God though.
competition. It happened with Jyoti, me and Jena. Something is wrong, but we have got the results and shown them how hard we worked and won medals. Now, to be clear, Neeraj Chopra never does this. He turns up, he throws, he wins.
Okay, he doesn't get
never
involved.
questions
Yeah.
the officials or the organizers.
Yeah, yeah.
So for him to
It's
speak
odd.
out
He's
never needed
is
to.
huge.
Yeah.
And now the Indian officials have taken note. They're planning to lodge an official protest. The president of the
Oh,
Athletics
nice.
Federation of India has promised to get to the bottom of this. He says the Chinese, and I'm quoting him, were either stupid or mischievous.
Well, nobody knows what happens in China.
Is this the guy?
Either they are pure stupid or an inefficient, or they are up to mischief. The Athletic Federation
Up
will
to
do
no
what
good.
it has to do. The Athletic Federation, there are certain protocols which we will follow and take it to its logical conclusion.
Now, if we were going to be a little bit kinder there, in the way, maybe
kinder.
Well, okay,
They
hold on.
might be. You have to be stupid or up to no
Well,
good.
I
If you
thought
have
of a third
glitch
category
that-
here, which is ignorant. So I wonder, were some of these people just ignorant to the official rules? Now, that's not
Yeah.
to excuse it. We shouldn't have people that are ignorant to the sports rules officiating those sports, but I kind of wonder if there may have been some ignorance
There's
there
a possibility.
sort of mixed in.
There's a possibility that they could have been like, oh, it looks like it's outside the foul line, even though the replay is showing that he's clearly in the foul line. Oh, we can't measure that because we don't know.
We
something
forgot
went wrong.
to turn on the measuring system.
And maybe something actually went wrong, but
Yeah.
it kind of seems too much of a coincidence. I think Sean just doesn't want to piss off China.
Oh no, get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, I love I love the
Here he
Chinese people.
goes.
They're great people, and
We're not talking
it's
about
a
the
rich
people.
culture, and yeah. I'd love to visit China one of these days. So, but I
It's
did.
not about it's about like in the specific circumstance.
So it's-
were they trying to? Was there like trying to sabotage
I'm just trying to
the
broaden things a little bit here.
Indian people? And I don't even think that like if it was a coordinated sabotage, I think they were getting orders from higher up. I don't think these people in these positions were just taking it upon
All
themselves
I'm
to
saying
sabotage it.
Is that sometimes
But
ignorance
sometimes things
and
happen.
stupidity look very similar. So all I'm doing is putting it on the table. I'm not defending no one here.
I'll tell you why this is strange. Because technology is far more advanced now. In the past, officiating
Yeah, that's
mistakes
what
could
it's
be
like.
forgiven.
There should be no
You didn't have slow
reason
motion
not to.
cameras or line technology or any of these fancy gadgets. But this is
Exactly.
2023. Technology was supposed to make officiating easy
you
and
should know.
accurate and most importantly, neutral. How then did this happen? On social media, the verdict is clear. Chinese officials are trying to sabotage Indian athletes. That's what Anju Bobby George said as well. But how can we know for sure? Well, there are protocols in place. Once the official complaint is filed, we'll have more clarity on what really happened. I will say this, though. This is certainly not beyond China. They politicized this Asian Games from day one. In fact, before day one. 3 Indian athletes were denied entry by China. They belong to Arunachal Pradesh, so Beijing said no entry. Back then, India lodged a diplomatic
Must be some sort of
protest, and
political
now
Why?
thing there.
What Pradesh? Like a certain area?
Oh, did they say they're from Uttar Pradesh?
They say.
entry by China. They belong to Arunachal Pradesh, so Beijing said no.
I don't know. Maybe
that a
maybe it
state
could be an
or-
organization. Is it maybe sort of a spiritual organization?
Tell us in the
or
comments because
yeah,
we have no
I'm
idea.
not sure.
Arunachal Pradesh, so Beijing said no entry. Back then, India lodged a diplomatic protest, and now Indian athletes are suffering. These actions are beyond petty. India is having its best ever Asian Games in Hangzhou.
Yeah.
India has won 86 medals so
Now
far.
100.
China is at number 1 with more than 320 medals.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like their position is under threat. Yet these allegations have emerged, and we don't know what will happen after the protest and the investigation, but we can say this. This Asian Games has soured relations further, from the visa row to the cheating allegations. This is not what you expect from a host, and that to a neighboring host. We have 3 more days left in the Games. Let's see if the officiating standards pick up now.
Well, you know, and if anybody's sort of saying, well, who's India to say how you should host people in this? Well, they just hosted the G20 and they did one hell of a job. And I haven't heard any complaints about their ability to host that in a very sort of transparent and above board sort of way that was very welcoming and inclusive. So, geez, well, there you go. Now we know the real story going on behind the scenes, but that certainly doesn't, let's not let this diminish the fact that they did cross that 100 medal mark. And that they have been doing really well there. But yeah, it really makes you wonder with today's technology, how you could not measure a javelin throw or not know immediately if a false start had occurred. You'd think it would take 30 seconds to, my iPhone can do that, right? You can do the super slow-mo and go back and see all the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't trust the country of China. I want to distinguish the country from the people. When I get upset at China, I'm not talking about the Chinese people. If any coordinated sabotaging is going on, I would think it's from China as the country.
Their
because they're
leadership,
trying to-
I think, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the
government.
leadership
Okay.
rather than the individuals themselves. It's a scary country. It's communist. But they're not the only country to kind of look a little bit sketchy with the Olympics and trying to manipulate
Be a
the
little
system.
bit slippery with the rules.
Russia has done this, at least I know.
Well,
The
with figure
case of the
skating.
figure skating.
Yeah.
Was there other stuff too? With maybe sneaking steroids or something. I don't know if that was Russia at all, but I know that there was the huge incident with the figure skating and the judges. There was Russians, and then there was another country that seemed to team up with the Russian judges and like it was pairs. I don't know what year, I forget. It was the Olympics, and they like should not have won. And the Canadian pair couple, Jamie Soleil and David Palki, came like second initially. There was a whole protest about it, and they investigated, and then they gave the Canadians the gold, but they didn't take the gold from the Russians.
But I would say, though, at least in that situation, and obviously the allegations were proven true, and it was a whole big thing. But to judge figure skating is a lot more complex than to judge how far someone can throw a javelin, right? There's a lot more nuance there. Are they dancing well with their couple? How are the movements? How's the aesthetics? There's a lot there to sort of unpack, and a lot of room for one judge to say, hey, I'm giving that a 7.
Not when it was obvious.
Give that an 8.
Not when you watch these two performances. But I know what you're saying.
I'm strengthening the claims here.
It's very clear cut with this, at least, where it's not open for interpretation
based on your own sensibilities, and it's either the person reached the finish line first or they didn't. They threw the javelin further than anyone else, or they didn't. Well, there you go. It's we are now caught up to speed, and congratulations again, India, on that milestone.
I don't want to end yet. The javelin one is weird to me, but the other. Did they only bring up one other circumstance? It's not that much to go off of. Like,
they were also saying that they tried to block the visas of those 3, or block the.
Right.
Yeah.
The 3
so there was
people.
There was other sort of shenanigans.
Or they didn't even let them
before
in.
That. Yeah.
Anyways.
What's new around here, right?
You all know what to do. Hit the buttons. Been long enough. I'm
Thumbs
not gonna
up,
say
subscribe.
it.
We love you a whole lot.
Okay.
This is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily RH.
Sign off. Bye.
Bye, guys.